So I've been thinking about adaptations, and there's a couple of things to think about when it comes to adaptations, because it's like, you really have to think about, does this need to exist? Like, is it fine in the format it's in, and it doesn't need to be remade for the sake of it? For the sake of it normally meaning for cash grab reasons. But I have been thinking about my favourite graphic novel series, how they could be adapted, if they should be adapted, how the adaptation would be different from the original. These are my three faves. We've got Paper Girls, Saga, and Lumberjanes. Very different vibes. Well, Paper Girls and Saga have some similar vibes, and I guess Lumberjanes and Paper Girls have some similar vibes, but tonally they're all quite different. First I want to talk about Paper Girls, and I just want to appreciate how beautiful, God, the colours in this book. Paper Girls is a story about 4 girls who deliver newspapers in their small town, and one Halloween things get pretty weird, like aliens and space-time travel weird. It's a beautiful series. There's no denying that it looks beautiful. The thing about creating adaptations of things, the way I think about it anyway, is that you don't necessarily compare the two versions of things. So like if they made an adaptation of Paper Girls as a live action, which I think is the best format for it because it's very Stranger Things and would easily like sell to that nostalgia 80s audience. It's set in the 80s, did I tell you that? But that wouldn't mean that the show was better or worse than the novel, just for formatting purposes. Apparently a live action version is in development. That doesn't make this any less beautiful, and I'm sure there'll be things in the show that the comic doesn't have. I think it's silly to downplay positive elements of an adaptation just because it's an adaptation. Like, you don't need to hold the source material up as like, this is the one precious being and only this can be perfect. Obviously there's adaptations of things that are just a cash grab or are poorly done or are done without the original creators, but most adaptations probably have some kind of worth that you can take from them. Whether the good elements were worth creating the entire thing, I mean, that's for you to decide. My point is, this comic is so filmically structured and also like dialogue heavy and action heavy that I think it just perfectly lends itself to live action, especially in the current market, the Stranger Things market. Although to be honest, you could give me a gaggle of teenage girls gallivanting through time from any era and I would be on board. Next up on the list, we have Saga. This is actually volume 7, but I was trying to pick like the coolest yet least spoilery cover for you to look at. Saga is set in space. It's about aliens. Specifically, it's about 2 aliens from 2 different warring races that accidentally end up together and having a baby, and now they're on the run because their entire galaxy is like, that's bad. It's real good. There's so many characters that I love. I do think it's the least viable for an adaptation, which is frustrating because I feel like it deserves a wider audience. I can see it being a struggle to adapt, like audience niche-wise. I think it would probably be too expensive to do as a live action because there's just so many characters that would require CGI or prosthetics. Like, unless you're working on a massive like Mandalorian style budget, I don't think you would be able to fund this and do it justice. You could adapt it as an animated series, and I think that would be beautiful. However, it's a very adult book. There's a lot of graphic violence and there's a lot of rude shows. And I don't think that at the moment there is a niche in adult animation for this kind of saga. Animated television for adults in the West, even the newer stuff like Bob's Burgers or BoJack Horseman, have a very simplistic art style and they tend to be like comedy or like dark comedy drama type things, not full-on like Star Wars-esque monolithic stories. And I would love for it to exist, because if that sort of animated show niche was like brought more into the norm, that would be my exact jam. Now we've got Lumberjanes, which is a completely different vibe from Saga. It's still an adventure, it's still a group of characters and lovable side characters, but it's PG. Lumberjanes is about 5 plus, a lot of side characters come in, but originally it's 5 girls going to summer camp, getting into supernatural misadventures If you enjoyed Gravity Falls, then you would probably enjoy Lumberjanes. This is the easiest one to choose an adaptation for sure, because it 100% just sells itself to animated TV show for children and like teenagers. It's so fun. It's co-written by Noelle Stevenson, who created She-Ra. So you know it's good, you know it's queer, we love to see it, and it's a long series. I don't know how many volumes there are now. I have up to 5, but I think I've read up to 7? There's a lot of them. There's a lot of material. It has cute like little mini adventures that lead up to a greater story arc. It's literally perfect for an animated TV show. I hope it exists one day. I'm gonna Google it actually. Well, apparently Netflix has signed a first look deal with the company that produces Lumberjanes and a number of other comics. That's exciting. I saw somewhere that there might be like a surge in animated TV shows because of quarantine and lockdown and ongoing social distancing, because animating is something that workers can do from home rather than being on set and filming live action things, which frankly I would be jazzed about. That would be really cool. I really should have googled this information before I started the video, huh? Apparently Brian K. Vaughan, who co-wrote both Paper Girls and Saga, has signed a TV deal to develop some of his works into TV and film. So that's exciting. Oh, I really hope they do Saga as an animated show. Please! That's all I have to say, really. Some thoughts on adaptations, animated television, and how much I love graphic novels. I would recommend all of these. I love them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!